It got awfully quiet in here. Good morning. I'm Dr. Robert Samari, and I'm privileged to serve as the Executive Vice Chancellor for the University of Kansas Medical Center. I'm pleased to welcome all of you here today for a historic announcement that will benefit not only our academic medical center, but our entire region. We are honored to have with us several individuals who have played an important role in making today's news possible. Many will be speaking, and I look forward to each of them sharing their thoughts on the Cancer Center and its remarkable progress. Throughout the years, Cancer Center leadership has built relationships with business and civic leaders and partnered with legislative advocates who recognize the value and importance of the Cancer Center to the state of Kansas. In addition to Senator Jerry Moran, who you'll hear from in a moment, we have a number of those advocates in attendance today, including current and former state elected officials, local elected officials, including mayors and county commissioners, current and former members of the Johnson County Education Research Triangle Board of Directors, members of the Kansas Board of Regents, staff from the offices of Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, Representatives David and Senator Blunt, current and former administrative leaders from the University of Kansas, senior leaders from the University of Kansas Health System, and members of the University of Kansas Health System Board, and special advocates from the communities across the state of Kansas and Missouri. We are all here today to celebrate this momentous event. And thanks to each of you for your ongoing commitment to the KU Cancer Center. As some of you know, the mission of the Medical Center is to improve the lives of Kansans and their communities through innovation in education, research, and healthcare. As such, the success of the Cancer Center is central to that mission. 2 decades ago, when medical center leadership decided to focus on cancer research, there were some that were worried that other areas might be left behind. However, it has never been more true that indeed rising tides raise all ships. With the success of the Cancer Center, Centers of Excellence in Alzheimer's disease, kidney disease, diabetes, aging, and many others have flourished. In supporting all of this research sits Frontiers, our Clinical and Translational Science Institute. Furthermore, this phenomenon has extended to our basic science and clinical departments and even to our ability to recruit the best and brightest to Kansas. Indeed, we are in the era of a rising tide, led by our Cancer Center. This rising tide is not limited to our campuses, but extends far beyond them to every community, patient, and individual throughout Kansas, Missouri, and beyond. To delve deeper into the Cancer Center's growth and its relationship to the university and the region, I'd now like to introduce Chancellor Doug Girod and invite him to the podium. Doug?
Thank you, Dr. Samari. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here for this momentous occasion. And ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear about this. Today is really among the most important, exciting, and meaningful days for our university, for our city, for our region, and for our state. It's certainly a day we've dreamed about. It's a day we've aspired to. It's a day we've worked towards. And now it's a day when really we can celebrate and be proud. And we're honored to have with us today a number of individuals who played such an important role. As you look across this room, so many people have played a role in helping us make today's news possible. In just a minute, you'll be hearing from Senator Moran, who will be sharing that great news with us. But before we do that, I just want to reflect for a moment on how we got here. Certainly one of our proudest moments in the history of the university and the region was July 12th, 2012, when then U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius told a group in this very room, actually, that the KU Cancer Center had become the 67th federally designated cancer center by the National Cancer Institute. And it was a transformative moment for the University of Kansas, as Rob just talked about, and certainly for our region, and certainly for our residents of this region who up until that point in time often traveled hundreds of miles out of state to receive the world-class treatments and access to clinical trials that they needed for their cancer care. And that designation really meant that we were on the path to make that no longer necessary. But even then, we knew that NCI designation really was a milestone. It was not an endpoint. And it was an important milestone to our next goal, which is really to earn the next level of designation, which is comprehensive designation for our cancer center. And to do this, we knew we would have to redouble our efforts to continue to work hard, to invest, to bring in new donors, new healthcare partners, to deepen our research bench, and to continue to recruit world-class physicians and scientists. And for the past decade, we've done exactly that. And so certainly today, we can see that those efforts are paying off. And it really can't be said strongly enough, as Rob alluded to, that the success in elevating the cancer has really been, over the last 2 decades, an awesome partnership with countless organizations and individuals, and certainly many of them are in the room here today to help us celebrate. But I can't really think of a more impressive public-private partnership in our region than what we've achieved, and we will hear about today. And over the years, really this partnership has included 5 governors, Governor Sebelius, Parkinson, Brownback, Collier, and Kelly. The Kansas legislature with many of the leaders who are here in the room with us today, both current and former, who have been steadfast in their bipartisan support of this initiative and really committed millions of state dollars in investment to help make this possible through many different formats. Certainly our donors who, again, too many to name, but this effort, much of it has been funded through philanthropy. And have really, many of those donors have actually been impacted by cancer in their lives, helping to drive their passion and their belief in this effort. And certainly the Kansas City civic community, who has made the Cancer Center a top priority, really for countless mayors, commissioners, councilmen and women, boards of directors, nonprofits, and fellow healthcare organizations. Rob talked about the JCERT Board of Directors. The Johnson County voters had the foresight to support this effort with really a visionary tax to fund our critically needed Phase 1 clinical trial facility down in Fairway, which really we would not be here today without. And the Kansas Masons and the Kansas Masonic Foundation, who have been there since the very start, funding the Masonic Cancer Alliance, which is really the outreach network for the KU Cancer Center and helps provide clinical trials and cancer screenings across our entire region. And certainly here at the university, it's been the work of 3 chancellors, of 3 medical center executive vice chancellors, 2 health system CEOs, and so many others over the course of time. And certainly we want to thank, lastly, the KUMC Advancement Board, our friends, neighbors, and the local media who have kept the spotlight on this mission, on the Cancer Center and what we've been trying to achieve here, and really educated our community about the healthcare benefits and the economic benefits of having an NCI-designated cancer center right here in Kansas City. And so really the truth is that we wouldn't be here today with the help of all those partners. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of all our colleagues for those who have helped us with this incredible public-private partnership. And you're going to hear more than once today that none of this would have been possible without the commitment, passion, and drive of our Cancer Center Director, Roy Jensen. And when you think back, this journey actually started in 1978 with a planning grant from Bill Jewell, if you'll remember. But in 2004, Dr. Atkinson, who's here with us today, brought Roy Jensen from Vanderbilt University to KU for the sole purpose of leading this quest for NCI status. And so, Roy, on behalf of grateful community, university, and to the countless patients and families, we certainly all thank you. So in closing, I just want to say, almost 20 years ago now, this entire community joined together and decided that this was our top priority. This was our moonshot, if you will. And today we've landed on the moon. And that dream is now a reality. And that really means better patient care, better cancer outcomes, better cancer research, and one more step closer to our ultimate goal, which of course is to eradicate cancer from our society. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce U.S. Senator Jerry Moran. But before I do that, I would like to thank Mrs. Senator Jerry Moran, Robin Moran, who has had a huge hand in being here today as well. So really want to thank them both and welcome Senator Moran to the stage.
If you saw me making notes while I was sitting there, it was introduce my wife. No longer necessary. So Chancellor, thank you very much. The state of Kansas and the Kansas City area has been building a reputation as a destination for opportunity, innovation, and growth. This is not an accident. The talented people in our state and this region have been hard at work for years, described just now by the Chancellor, and even decades at this effort to build on the success of what Kansas City and Kansas is becoming. And that additional success is what brings us here today. My personal, long-lasting, long-standing goal has been to make certain that Kansas is a place in which science and technology, engineering and research is educated and careers are created. We are an agricultural state. We are an airplane manufacturing state. We produce a lot of energy. But could we have one more pillar, maybe more pillars in the future too, but at least one more pillar that takes care of our kids who like that research, that engineering, that technology. And from the very beginning of my time as a federal elected official, my thought was getting the NCI designation at the University of Kansas is the #1 priority to start us down that path. What the result of that can be is that we make Kansas a place where we not only recruit top talent in the world to come to us, but we are also keeping our students, our own family members, our students with their knowledge and their talent and their intellect, we're keeping them in Kansas. Kansans will have the opportunity to change the world, the globe, right here from home. A decade ago, the KU Cancer Center was recognized as a National Cancer Institute. Since becoming the NCI designated cancer center in 2012, KU Cancer Center has demonstrated immense capabilities in research and science and in care for patients. And that has played a critical role in our nation's work toward preventing and curing this dreaded disease. In 2017, the KU Cancer Center's NCI designation was renewed, but we fell short of becoming a comprehensive cancer center. In the subsequent 5 years, KU focused on strengthening its core areas necessary to achieve success. And last year, we submitted that second application for comprehensive designation. You know, I was told that I got to announce what was taking place here today, but it doesn't seem as if there's any surprise left in the room. But today, effective July 1, just a few days ago, I am pleased to announce the University of Kansas Cancer Center has received National Cancer Institute's comprehensive designation. Congratulations. My political instincts tell me I should sit down. But I want to highlight, we are joining 52 institutions across the country, only 52, in this new designation, and it will open up avenues for federal funding, for collaborative research, and a deeper partnership with the National Cancer Institute. The millions of dollars increase in funding from NCI is critical to supporting KU's research and development and translating findings into effective treatment for patients. I want to make sure that I don't make the mistake of saying this is about science, mathematics, engineering, and research. This is about curing a disease. It's about families. It's about love. And it's about giving something that everyone who receives that diagnosis that they have cancer, what they're looking for, at least initially, is hope. What this research is about is providing hope in the process of finding the cure. I'm a Senate appropriator with jurisdiction over the National Institute of Health and NCI, and we've worked to increase the funding as a Senate, as in a bipartisan Republican-Democrat fashion, in which we've increased the funding for NIH $2 billion a year for the last 5 years in a row. The increase in overall resources to NIH provide NCI with a larger allocation. So the more NIH gets, the more NCI gets, and the more the University of Kansas Cancer Center gets. The grants that we frequently apply for that are too often rejected now stand a greater chance of being accepted. Acting NCI Director Dr. Lowy told me last week or a week before in a phone call when I thanked him for this conclusion that between KU's first application and their second application for this designation, KU demonstrated the greatest increase in capabilities, more so than any other applicant they have ever evaluated. The thank yous are broad spread, widely deserved, but I especially thank the leadership team at the KU Cancer Center and Chancellor, Dr. Samari, Dr. Jensen, Tammy Peterman, and the hospital. What pride you must take in today's announcement and the success that it represents. Dr. Jensen, I've never known anyone more determined. I want you as my doctor, not my lobbyist.
I'm a pathologist.
Oh, well. You have been an exceptional lobbyist, and I assume a really good doctor, but I don't know that personally. I don't know how many times we could have met more in my office, more at KCI, more at DCA, getting on a plane, getting off a plane. His visits to Washington, D.C., to me and my staff and to the congressional delegation and the Department of Health and Human Services, to the administration, were relentless. And the quest was evident that this was not going to go away. So thank you all for finally getting us the success. And maybe Dr. Jensen will stay home. This is only the beginning, and really good things continue and begin to happen here at the KU Cancer Center. We'd be behind in our efforts to find the cure and the treatment. And God willing, one day we will provide something more than hope. We will provide that cure. Kansans and Kansas Cityans will now access the latest, the most recent developments, the latest science in their own care and treatment. And if you have a family member who suffers from this tremendous disease, there is hope. There is more hope today than there was yesterday. What more could be important in our lives other than making today a great day, but making tomorrow even better? Congratulations to the University of Kansas, its Cancer Center, the newest in the nation, the NCI University of Kansas Comprehensive Cancer Center.
Thank you very much, Senator Moran. The Cancer Center provides an incredible link between the research excellence at the medical center and its affiliates to the clinical excellence at the University of Kansas Health System. Together, these organizations ensure that cancer research and clinical care work hand in hand to improve patient outcomes. I'd now like to invite Tammy Peterman, President of the University of Kansas Health System's Kansas City Division, to the podium. Tammy.
I'm the short one up here, so I've got to move this down just a little bit. Wow, what a remarkable day. You know, we knew it would be a great day when we woke up today, but hearing all of this, doesn't it make us all so very proud? So thank you, Rob, and congratulations to all members of the University of Kansas Cancer Center for the NCI Comprehensive Center designation. Wow, what a really, really big and impressive achievement. And a really special thanks, and Roy will hear this all day long, but a very special thanks to Dr. Jensen, because this journey is, as Senator Moran just mentioned, been on his mind every hour of every day for many years. And it's because of his truly dedicated and focused attention that we are here. And I know that you partner with so many leaders and you work with Dr. Terry Suay and Jeff Wright in the Cancer Center, as well as so many leaders throughout the entire cancer program. We congratulate everyone who's involved in our cancer program. Bob Page wishes that he was here today. He's actually attending the funeral of a close friend and someone who was a former member of our medical staff. The past few months have been really pretty remarkable for our cancer program. Just last December, we opened the 3 remaining floors of our Cambridge Tower A. Those floors were designed by patients and physicians and nurses and other staff to make sure that we could meet the needs of our hematology patients, our acute leukemia patients, and our cellular therapy patients. It's a beautiful, beautifully designed area provided with individuals who are providing care every single day in a really remarkable way. And then just in May, we opened the Proton Therapy Center, which is a really, really big event for certainly our cancer center, for our health system, and for the community. This will allow patients who maybe previously had traveled for therapy to never have to leave the region to receive the most advanced radiation therapy treatment available anywhere. It's also a beautifully designed area with remarkable staff. Today's NCI comprehensive announcement is yet another validation for our patients, our city, our entire community, and really our country. The University of Kansas Cancer Center is one of the best places in the country to receive cancer care. I know it, I believe it, it's the truth. Every year, approximately 6,500 new cancer patients and their families choose the University of Kansas Cancer Center for their care. Our cancer center has diagnosed and treated many, many people from across Kansas and Missouri and across our entire country and many countries internationally as well. We also know that the need for cancer care continues to grow in our city and in our region and certainly beyond. We have a team who's providing great care to all of those patients every single day. They're also focusing on treatment and eventually a cure. That's a pretty big and tall order, but it will happen someday. I often get asked, so what makes academic medicine just a little different? I think today is an example of academic medicine. It's bringing together the strengths of research and education and patient care. It's that power that comes together to really form academic medicine. It's what's best for patients. It's really a time today to celebrate and recognize and thank all of the individuals involved and really celebrate the milestone that's being achieved right here. But ultimately, today we're celebrating the NCI comprehensive designation and what it means for patients, not just today, but tomorrow and in years to come. Because we know that clinical trials and more focus on prevention and greater opportunities for cure, that's what this is all about. We're so excited for what the future will hold for the University of Kansas Cancer Center, for our patients, for our region. And we are grateful for the team of people who make it happen every single day at the University of Kansas Cancer Center. So congratulations to our team.
So achieving comprehensive designation really requires collaboration with key healthcare and research organizations across our communities. We have been honored to have the Stowers Institute for Medical Research and Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City as partners in the KU Cancer Center Consortium. Representing Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City, I'd like to invite Dr. Tom Curran, Executive Director and Chief Scientific Officer for the Children's Mercy Research Institute, to join us. Tom?
What an amazing day, and what a fantastic day for children of the region. I first want to thank everybody who's here and the many others who contributed who aren't here for making this special day possible. I was recruited to Children's Mercy Kansas City about 6 years ago. Dr. Jensen was part of that recruitment team. And when I met with him, he shared this ambition and challenge of attaining comprehensive status. That was actually key for bringing me here to build a research enterprise in Children's Mercy and a new research building that tightly linked research and medicine. So we were up for the challenge that Roy presented. Partnering was key. But in this team environment, the quarterback plays a very important role. So I don't know if you realize that nationally, Roy is known as the Patrick Mahomes of cancer research. I pretty much think the Kansas City region wrote the book on teamwork, and we should take some pride in that. And Roy was a wonderful partner. There was no daylight. We've achieved a level of integration that's pretty much unprecedented. Here today is Dr. Jeannie James, the Chair of Pediatrics at Children's Mercy, also the Chair of Pediatrics at KU. We work very tightly together to ensure the very best care and treatment is provided to children. In pediatric oncology, comprehensive cancer center status is particularly important. For children with cancer, much of the therapies are only available through participation in cutting-edge clinical trials. Having access to all the resources of the Cancer Center, the depth of research expertise, and the ability to form multidisciplinary teams means that those children will be exposed to the very best science and technology. So what comprehensive status is doing is offering hope and promise for the next generation. I'd also like to personally thank Roy and his family for ensuring representation of that next generation at this meeting. Because really, in fact, I'm going to ask you to applaud the children, because that's why we do this, to all of our region's children.
As I mentioned previously, we are truly in an era of a rising tide of fortunes. And as we all know, tides are driven by a gravitational pull of the moon, and gravity is the fundamental force of nature. Our rising tide is also driven by a fundamental force of nature. Dr. Roy Jensen. Roy's steadfast leadership has been the basis for the Cancer Center's success. He truly is a force of nature. Individually and with solid support of his partners throughout the community, he has transformed the landscape of cancer research and practice throughout our community, state, and region. and it's been an honor to be one of his partners. Additionally, Roy made it crystal clear that no matter where you are, you can return to Kansas to continue a successful academic career. Like Tom, many of us might not be here but for Roy. As each of us has shared this morning in so many ways, it is Roy Jensen and his vision for elevating the KU Cancer Center that have paved the way for today's comprehensive designation announcement. So now that the Cancer Center dream has become a reality, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation for Roy and the rest of the Cancer Center team and congratulate you all on achieving this comprehensive status. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Roy Jensen.
Well, thank you, Dr. Samari. You know, this day was decades in the making, and I think we should just take a moment to soak it in. That's good. I'm going to remember that one in the nursing home, sitting in the rocking chair. The staff told me that I needed to stay on script, but Senator Moran's speech reminded me of something, and perhaps the most important lesson that I ever learned to become a Cancer Center director was learned in the summer between my junior and senior year, when I had just come back from KU basketball camp. And in that age group, we utilized the Lawrence High gym for our facility. And I don't know if any of you have ever been in the Lawrence High gym, but it is painted, every square inch of it. And I came back, met with my coach, and said, you know, it would be great if we could paint our gym blue. And he said, yeah, that'd be awesome. Why don't you go talk to our superintendent and see if you can get that done. So I did that. And I walked into his office and I explained what I wanted to do and how important this was, and I thought it'd be a great way to build school spirit. And he kind of looked at me and said, well, we really don't have the money in the budget for that, Roy, and quickly dismissed me. And next Monday morning, I was back in his office, and I said, I would be happy to volunteer to paint that gym if you just buy the paint. And he looked at me and he said, well, we don't have the money for the paint in the budget, Roy. Next Monday morning, I'm back in the gym, or back in his office. And I said, not only will I volunteer to a fundraiser to raise the money for the paint. And he looked at me and said, I'll think about it, and dismissed me from his office. Now, later on, when I heard that they were going to paint the gym, I went and talked to my coach, and I said, so what happened? And he said, well, Mr. Perry came down to my office, and he said, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important lesson you can learn to be a Cancer Center director. So achieving comprehensive designation is a testament not only to our Cancer Center, but also to our collective institutions in this region. 20 years ago, we were told that this was a pipe dream. Our institutions weren't good enough. Our leadership wasn't up to the task, and we didn't have anywhere near the resources to make that happen, to make Cancer Center designation happen. And I think our success is a reflection of the extraordinary amount of hard work and the talent of our team that we assembled, the unwavering commitment of our institutional leadership, and the steadfast support of our community. And speaking of the team that we assembled, I'm going to be introducing them at this afternoon's event, but I would love to have them stand up, or everybody in the Cancer Center stand up and take a round of applause. This is the reason why we have a comprehensive cancer center, the people who just stood up. Now, we've come a long way since first announcing our intent to pursue NCI designation in 2004. When we started out, our staff, not including faculty, stood at a grand total of 10 people. Today, we have over 250 support staff, including an ever-expanding team at our KU Cancer Center Clinical Trials office. When we were first designated in 2012, we had 108 disease-specific oncologists on our team, and now there's over 150. All told, the University of Kansas Cancer Center comprises nearly 350 researchers and clinicians, and there's no other institution in our region that even has a tenth that number. Now, in 2004, our cancer center received about $23 million of total cancer-related research funding. But I have to tell you, that number was about as padded as we could possibly pad it. There were some grants in there, that didn't exactly, wouldn't have cut the mustard these days. And now we have funding just under $80 million a year. Now, because groundbreaking clinical trials are key to making progress against this terrible disease, we have greatly expanded our clinical research program. And in fact, we have enrolled over 33,000 participants in clinical trials since 2010. We're currently managing about 370 clinical trials, and out of that number, 60 of those are investigator-initiated, meaning that they're trials that will Cancer Center just put patients on other people's trials. And that robust level of activity in no since the Great Depression voted a sales tax to support our clinical research activities. And now that generates well over $6 million per year. That is a huge structural advantage for our cancer center, which no other center in the country has. And I specifically want to thank Fred Logan, Bill Hall, Mary Birch, and the late Dick Bond for making that happen. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't list at least some of the folks that were critical to us to achieve what we've achieved today. But that list is incredibly long. But I particularly want to focus on our community of donors. And I go back to Bill Hall again. And we're extremely grateful that Bill and Carlene could be with us today. He was scheduled to be in Michigan, And I called him up and pleaded with him. I said, Bill, if we try to have this event without you, it would be like trying to have Christmas without Santa Claus. And he relented. I also want to thank, and obviously his work with the Hall Family Foundation was foundational, so to speak, in terms of making this cancer center happen. I also need to thank Bob Shively and his predecessors in the leadership of the Kansas Masonic Foundation. Without the KMF, who believed in us decades before we got started with this quest, we also would have never gotten to today. Lisa Mitchell and the Kauffman Foundation, Don Hall Sr., over and above what the Hall Family Foundation did, Joe and Jeannie Brandmeier, Betty and Mark Morris in the Morris Family Foundation, the Block family, in particular the R.A. Block Cancer Foundation, Annette Block, Linda Lyon, absolutely critical to this whole effort. Tom and Teresa Walsh, the Dunn Family Foundation, Greg and Deanna Graves, and the Sunderland Foundation all played huge roles in getting us to where we are today. Our group, the Cancer Funding Partners, has been one of our most steadfast groups to support us. And they have been instrumental in providing the juice to make us what we are. Not only for the first attempt at designation, but also today. And in fact, just since 2017, they've raised $110 million, which is an astounding amount. I also want to thank our external advisory board, which includes leaders from NCI-designated cancer centers from all across the country. It was their guiding light and guidance which really set us on the path to where we are today. And I especially want to thank George Weiner, who is with us here today, who is the chair of, there he is, right back there. There. He's a long-standing cancer center director at the University of Iowa and former past president of AACI, and I think certainly one of the deans of the Cancer Center Directors Group. I also want to thank our clinical partner, the University of Kansas Health System, and Bob, Paige, and Tammy. They have rebuilt our clinical enterprise, or certainly part of the team that rebuilt our clinical enterprise over the last 20 years. And we would not be standing here today if it had not been for the success of the KU Health system. As is often said in the corridors of academia, if there's no margin, there's no mission. And you guys have done a great job in focusing on quality and the ability to make sure that our patients get the finest care in the world. And as part of that, I also want to acknowledge the tremendous partnership we've had with Dr. Terry Sue, our physician-in-chief in the Cancer Center, and Jeff Wright, who's the Executive Vice President for Cancer Services. They make my job so much easier, and we will be incredibly sad to see them go. They're both retiring in December, but they have done an outstanding job. Now, as Tammy already talked about, just this last May, we opened our Proton Center. And as the first such facility in the region, it represents the cutting edge of radiation oncology technology. It was key to helping us rebuild and recruit some of the finest radiation oncologists in the country. And in particular, Ron Chen, who now serves on our associate director group and is the head of our effort around health equity. That position was essential for us to get comprehensive status. The health system also played a key role in building our heme malignancies division under Joel McGurk. And as a result of that investment, our cancer center can lay claim to putting some of the first patients in the world on the pivotal trials that have led to the FDA approval of various CAR T therapy vectors that have revolutionized the treatment of acute leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and multiple myeloma. Now, one of the most important things that a Matrix Cancer Center director can have is the support of their institutional leadership. And I'm really pleased to have our former EVC, Barbara Atkinson, here today, and sitting right beside her, her partner in crime, Paul Terranova. It was Barbara's vision to develop an NCI-designated cancer center at the University of Kansas. She had spent pretty much her entire academic career in Philadelphia, where they had 5 NCI-designated centers, and she was shocked to come to Kansas City and find out that we did not have one. And she felt like this would be a great way to help build many aspects of our institution, not only on the basic science side, but the population health and the clinical side as well. And I owe her a great deal of gratitude for believing in me and recruiting me to the University of Kansas. And Paul was her point man, and he could make things happen. He played almost a day-to-day role in our cancer center, served on our leadership council, our associate directors group, and nobody could make things happen like Paul Terranova. And we wouldn't be here today without that man right there. The other thing that needs to be noted is that while it was Barbara's vision to make this happen, it still probably would not have taken place without Bob Hemingway. And Bob Hemingway did something which is never done at the institutional leadership level, and that is he established something as the #1 priority for the institution. Why don't you do that? Well, because the minute you have a priority list, everybody who's not on the priority list is in your office the next morning. And the next morning, everybody who's on the priority list but not ranked #1 is in your office wanting to know why that is. And he had the guts enough to do it. Now, I don't know that he would have done it if I had told him, well, it might take 20 years, but I think it says a lot about this institution. And when I think about it, I don't even know of a place who would decide on a priority and then be willing to spend 2 decades to make it happen. I mean, if I was a football coach, I'd have been fired about 15 seasons ago. But it is what it is. I'm also incredibly grateful to our consortium partners. And one other thing I need to say, as Chancellor Gerard pointed out, that support from Bob Hemingway all the way through Doug Gerard has been absolutely consistent and rock solid. This would not have happened without this. I'm also incredibly grateful to our consortium partners. And when I first came here and was interviewing for the job, one of the most important relationships I had was with Bill Neves from the Stowers Institute. Bill Neves helped, who was the head of Stowers at the time, talked me into coming to Kansas City and pledged his full partnership in this effort. Bill had been the dean at UT Southwestern for at least 2, if not 3 attempts at getting NCI designation for that institution. He knew exactly what was in store. He knew how hard it was going to be, and he was perfectly willing to be part of the effort to move this forward. And that was essential. I knew if I had Bill Neves in my corner, we could make this happen. The other critical part of this, of course, has already been talked about by Tom Kern. Children's Mercy was an essential part of this cancer center if we were going to achieve our dream of being a comprehensive center. You can't be comprehensive without serving the entire population. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is I think our relationship that we built up with Children's Mercy has had an incredibly positive impact upon that institution, and we look forward to continued growth of that relationship moving forward. I also want to acknowledge our administrative support staff under the leadership of Teresa Christensen. I am one of the luckiest people in the world. Because these folks are really good. You know, the other thing that's been great about this initiative is that we have been one of the few things that have brought people together in Topeka like really nothing else I've ever seen. And that's true for both houses of the legislature. That's true from both sides of the aisle. That's true in the governor's office. That's true at the legislative leadership level. And, you know, that without the support of Governor Sebelius, Senator Steve Morris, Representative Ray Merrick, Senator Weissong, Senator Vicki Schmidt, would not have happened. With that initial $5 million of investment from the state in 2007, we simply would not have had the juice to do this. And if you want to do great things, you got to have some seed capital, and that provided it. Now, in 2020, the state allocated an additional $5 million a year to us, specifically as part of our quest for comprehensive status. And I'm delighted to welcome former Senate Majority Leader Senator Jim Denning here today, who played an absolutely key role in making that happen. And it was essential. So. Now, in this case, Fred Logan played the role of Roy Jensen bugging the high school superintendent. And I can't tell you how many times that Fred Logan was in Senator Denning's office, but obviously it did the trick. I also would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the tremendous support that we have had from our federal delegation over the years, and specifically now Senator Moran, started off Congressman Moran. And, you know, it is a privilege and an honor to be joined up here on the podium with a senator who you heard speak earlier about his passion for this effort, and also his wife, Raba, who has served as our chair of our Partners Advisory Board. So I was joking with her earlier. We have the entire Moran family on retainer. They're both lawyers, you know, so. And I'm very pleased to announce today that Senator Moran has secured $16 million of congressionally directed spending for the benefit of the KU Cancer Center this year. And the Congresswoman from the 3rd District, Sharice Davids, who unfortunately could not be here today, has also secured a congressionally directed spending for new imaging equipment that's going to enhance our research efforts, and we're very grateful to her and her staff. One of the unique features about our Cancer Center is our patient research advocacy in our community advisory boards. And these are elements that have been with us almost from the beginning, because it is critical that we do everything we can to serve the people in the manner in which they wish to be served. And those folks do an awesome job of that, and it's been a pleasure working with them as we help build our Cancer Center. And one of the last things I want to talk about is I'm so grateful for the support of my family. And, you know, I can never thank them enough for allowing me to come back to Kansas City. We had a great life in Nashville. We had just remodeled our house. I'll never get over. I'll never earn that one back. That was all brownie points went out the window with that one. But without Linda and the support of the boys, none of this would ever happen. And thank you, dear, so much. And we got 3 fantastic daughter-in-laws out of the deal. There's Brooke out there, right there. There's Maddie right there. Unfortunately, the 3rd one has COVID, so she couldn't come today. So, comprehensive designation is not just a landmark achievement for our institution. I think it's actually a pivotal moment for everyone living in this region. You know, cancer affects pretty much everyone in this room. 1 out of every 2 men, 1 out of every 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in our lifetime. And we aim to do nothing less at the University of Kansas Cancer Center to transform the entire cancer experience so that our patients have access to the latest cutting-edge therapies, and that we are leaders in developing those new therapies. Comprehensive designation opens the door to more funding, more clinical trials, more research, more expertise. And in fact, since our site visit, we're already a better cancer center. We have hired the leading breast cancer radiation oncologist in the country to be our new vice chair for radiation oncology. We have recruited one of the most outstanding population health scientists to be our new chair of population health. We have recruited an outstanding new division chief for our division of dermatology from Duke University, and we have secured a number of significant new grants since our site visit. So we're better now than what we were just a few months ago. And frankly, all of this means more lives saved, because patients treated at NCI-designated cancer centers have a 25% better survival than if they're treated elsewhere. And that's what it's all about. Now, I have one more thing to ask of this community. We are planning to build a new signature cancer building on this campus. It will be a facility that defines our cancer program for the 21st century. And we'll be able to unite investigators from our basic science, our translational science, our clinical science, and our population health group across all disciplines against this disease. And I can think of nothing that would take this program with this solid basis that it has now as an NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center to the next level of national prominence, to where the University of Kansas Cancer Center is one of those centers that is mentioned in the same breath as MD Anderson, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Dana-Farber, you name the best cancer centers in the country. And that's our goal. That's our next goal. Because ultimately, our real goal is to eliminate this terrible disease from the face of the earth. That's our dream. We'll hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Wow. Well, I want to, our sincere thanks to each of you for joining us today and helping us celebrate our new NCI comprehensive designation. For the members of the media who are interested in speaking with Dr. Jensen or one of our speakers, please stay in the front of the room. And the rest of you, this concludes today's presentation. We ask you to step out and enjoy a bit of refreshments following. So thank you very much, and congratulations, Dr. Jensen.
Thank you.